Hi, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Gig House Kitchen. Today we're going to be making Kendall Jenner's rumoured favourite sweet treat. You've heard about her slutty brownies, now meet the Gooey Chocolate Brownie Cake. If you want to know how I made this sinful treat, keep watching. Let's start with the ingredients. First, we have 225 grams of self-raising flour, to which I have added 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 85 grams of cocoa powder. You'll want to use 100% cocoa powder that you use for cooking and not something like hot chocolate powder, as that won't be chocolatey enough. Next up, I have 300 grams of white caster sugar. Now I have all my dry ingredients, I'm just going to give them a little mix together to make sure it's all incorporated. Moving on to the wet ingredients, we have 250 ml of milk, 125 ml of vegetable oil. Here you'll see I've mixed them together. Add 2 eggs. And finally we add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Once you've added all the ingredients to the bowl, you can either mix it with a handheld mixer like me, or you can use a wooden spoon, either is fine. And you'll want to give the batter a good mixing to make sure everything's incorporated. Next, we're going to add 250 ml of boiling water. You'll see I'm adding this slowly while mixing the mixture with a handheld beater. Funnily enough, it was at this point that I opened a portal to another dimension that actually held all the answers to the universe, but unfortunately my arm was in the way, so I guess you'll just have to wait till the next video to find out. Once we're done mixing, we want to scrape down the sides with a spatula just to make sure we don't lose any of that precious mixture. Next we want to put it in the tin. Here I have a 12-inch springform tin, which I've lined with some baking paper. If your tin doesn't have any gaps in it like mine, then you can skip this step. However, because this is such a loose mixture, I don't want any of it to be dripping out of the bottom of the tin, so I've lined it. And we're just going to pour the mixture into the tin, scraping out every last drop using a spatula, and then it's ready to go in the oven. So I put my cake layer in a 160 degrees centigrade oven for about 30 minutes. My oven's a little bit ferocious, so you might be able to cook it a bit hotter than that, but I would say as a rule of thumb, 160 degrees is great. So let's move on to the ganache. Here in my bowl I have 50 grams of plain chocolate, and over the top of that I've poured 50 ml of hot cream. You're going to leave this for about 10 to 15 minutes to let the chocolate melt, and then I'm stirring them together. Next you want to let the chocolate mixture cool down just a little bit, otherwise you'll melt your butter as you add it. And I'm adding 50 grams of hard stick butter, which I've chopped into little pieces, and I'm going to mix this into the chocolate mixture a little bit, just to get things started with the icing. And next, I'm going to add icing sugar into the mix in stages, making sure to mix the icing sugar into the chocolate mixture before I go at it with the beaters, because I don't want to cover myself in icing sugar. So you just keep adding and stirring until all of your ganache frosting comes together, and eventually you will have this delightful, delicious looking ganache frosting, which I can now set aside. Now we should go check on our cake. As you can see, the cake has risen quite a lot, and it's also cracked on the surface. That's fine, it's normal for a brownie type mixture to do this, and you're going to cover it in ganache frosting anyway, so people aren't going to see. And I always think a homemade cake that's a little bit craggy and cracked, it actually looks quite nice, so you know, you do you. You're welcome to chop the top off of this, but I think it's redundant really. So you'll want to let the cake layers cool completely before you put them in their final resting place. I was taking this to my boyfriend's family's house, so hence why I've put it on this little funny movable plate thing, but you can put it on anything you like really. I'm just going to start spreading half of the ganache mixture onto the cake. You can just plop this down and smooth it out to your heart's content. We're going to take the second layer of cake and remove the baking paper and just gently place the cake layer flat side down on top. Next, we're going to cover this with more ganache frosting, and the cake's ready to serve. So let's see how it looks. So here you have it, Kendall Jenner's supposed favourite dessert, the Gooey Chocolate Brownie Fudge Cake. Thank you for joining us. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on the Gig House Kitchen. Bye!